Long, long time ago, there lived a little boy named Abraham. Abraham's home was in a faraway land, in a city called Ur. There he lived with his father and mother and two younger brothers. In those days, cities had walls around them to keep enemies out. Every night, the gate to the city was locked. Every morning, the gate was opened. Abraham liked to watch people pass in and out. One night, Abraham was lying on the flat roof of his house, looking up at the stars. The twinkling stars made him think of the new bracelets that twinkled on his mother's arms. That very day, he watched the goldsmith make them. Suddenly, a question came into his mind. The goldsmith made my mother's bracelets, but who made the stars? Who made the heavens, the earth, the fields, the river? Who made the world? This was the most important question Abraham ever had. You see, in those days, people had not yet come to know God. They said the king was God. They bowed before idols, figures made of stone, metal, or wood. Abraham's father, Terah, made idols and sold them in his shop. He hurried down the ladder to talk to his father, who was carving a little idol when Abraham came into the room. It looked like a tiny, grinning man. Abraham asked, "Father, who made the world?" "The gods made it," said his father, as he pointed to the idols standing in a row. Then he gave Abraham the little idol he had finished. "Abraham, you may have this god for your own," said Terah. "He will protect you." Abraham looked at the little figure in his hand and said, "You are nice to play with, but I do not believe you are a god. You have eyes, but you cannot see me. You have ears, but you cannot hear me. You have a mouth, but you cannot speak to me. My father just made you. So how could you have made the world?" The next day, Abraham went to see his uncle, who was an officer of the king. Abraham saw him near the tower in the center of the city. "What brings you here, little nephew?" said his uncle. Said Abraham, "I am looking for the God who made heaven and earth." His uncle chuckled. Well, 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 you have come to the right place. King Nimrod is God. He built this tower that reaches to the skies. He made the heavens and the earth." But Abraham shook his head. Once he had seen Nimrod's face, and it was cruel. He could not believe that Nimrod was God, so he set out again. This time he went to see an uncle who was a shepherd. It was evening when Abraham found him. "Peace be with you, little nephew," his uncle said. "What brings you here?" Abraham said, "I am looking for the God who made heaven and earth. Can you tell me where to find him?" Said the uncle, "Look up. He is right above you in the heavens. The moon is God." Abraham looked up at the moon. It filled the heaven and earth with its silver light. Abraham thought, "My uncle knows the moon is God." As he spoke, a cloud covered the moon and the sky was darkened. Then Abraham said to himself, "The cloud is stronger than the moon, for it has driven it from the sky. The cloud must be God." But now a wind arose and scattered the clouds, and the heavens were filled with stars. "How foolish of me to think that the cloud was God," he said. "The stars are God's." For hours Abraham lay on his back in the fields, looking up at the twinkling stars. At last he fell asleep. When he awoke, the stars had faded from the sky, and the sun arose. Abraham lifted his eyes to the sun, then closed them, for the light blinded him. "Forgive me, mighty son," Abraham said, "for it is you that is God." But now Abraham remembered that the sun would set at the close of the day. "The sun cannot be God, for in the evening it will set. The moon and the stars are not gods, for they can be hidden by the clouds, and surely the king is not God. There is someone above them all. He made the heaven and earth and all that is in them. Abraham had his answer at last. For a while Abraham told no one what he had learned about God. Then one day, when he was alone in his father's shop, an old woman came in. "I want to buy a god, a strong one," said the old woman. Abraham shook his head. "But you bought an idol yesterday." The old woman said, I did indeed, but thieves came in the night and stole it. I dare not stay in my house without an idol to protect me." Abraham said, "Is it not foolish to think that an idol that could not save itself will save you? There is only one true God. He made the heavens and the earth. Only He can protect you." The old woman left the shop without buying the idol. When the woman had gone, Abraham took a hatchet and began breaking the idols into bits. Smash, crash, down came the idols, one after another, until only the largest one was left. Abraham put the hatchet in its hands and set a plate of meat before it. Terah, who had heard the noise, came rushing in. "Abraham, what has happened? Who broke the idols?" Abraham said, "I came into the room with a plate of meat that was to be my lunch. All the little gods stretched out their hands and grabbed the meat before the big one could, and that made the big one angry. So he took a hatchet and smashed all the little ones to bits. See, the hatchet is still in his hand." Terah said, "Am I such a fool that you should expect me to believe this story? These idols are made of wood and clay. I myself have made them. Can they open their lips? Can they move? Can they walk?" Abraham said, "No, Father, they cannot." Then Terah said, "Then how could the big idol have smashed the little ones?" "Father, I am sorry that I lied to you. I am sorry I destroyed all your hard work. But make no more idols, Father. Pray to the one God who made heaven and earth. He is the only God." "Hush, Abraham," Terah said. "It is dangerous to talk this way. If King Nimrod hears of it, he will throw you into his fiery furnace. Bow down, Abraham. Bow down to the idols like you used to." "I cannot, Father," said Abraham. "From this day on, I will only pray to the one true God."